All right, Chris Ruddy really doesn't need any introduction. Everybody knows NEWSMAX from Fox News and one of the biggest news sites in the world, the guy that first exposed the Clintons and all those scandals. And I, 2 weeks ago, knew that Trump was asking folks, hey, what do you think of Priebus? I've really got problems with him. And I didn't want to leak that info because Trump hates leaks so much. I don't want to leak on leaks. But I'll just say it now because it's coming out. He's one of the big leakers. And he keeps giving info to Paul Ryan's the word. And I know that Chris Ruddy is a member of that exclusive club that's Trump's. I know that he's friends with Trump. That's on record. And he talked to him this weekend out there while the Japanese prime minister was there. They're in Mar-a-Lago. And from the little birds that I talked to that were also there, they were hearing some of the same stuff. Mr. Ruddy has had a kind of a kind, let's say, filtered version of what was being said. Now I know that Ruddy, I didn't get this from Ruddy, is getting phone calls from certain people saying, why don't you walk this back? So we'll find out exactly what did happen. And I appreciate Chris Ruddy of NEWSMAX.com joining us, investigative journalist. Thank you for joining us.
Alex, thank you for having me on again. It was many years ago we were on together, and I'm willing to tell you all the secrets to you and your audience, but we got to all agree to that. We'll keep it a secret.
Exactly.
But, I'm a media personality as well as running NEWSMAX. I tell people what I think. I happen to know Donald Trump. I've known him for almost 20 years. But my views are always my views. I do not make a pretense I'm speaking for the president of the United States. Because you know what? And you know Donald Trump. I know you've spoken to him. He can speak well for himself. He doesn't need me to do it. But I have my own views. Sometimes I disagree with Donald. So I was asked yesterday on CNN with Brian Stelter. He's one of the few guys I go on CNN because I think he's fair to me, at least. And he asked me what I thought was going on. I said, look, there's been a lot of screw-ups, and I think that the president's not getting this true message, which is a really good message, out. And I said that Reince is falling short. I did not call for him to be fired. I did not say that he was a bad guy. I said he's a good guy in my book, well-intentioned. I think he's very loyal to the president. But I said at the time I didn't think he was well-served. That has morphed into a huge media story that maybe Trump wants to throw Reince over. That was not anything I'm knowledgeable about. I have no knowledge of that. I just know what I believe. And I will just tell you, like I've always done, what I believe and what I think, even if you disagree or don't like it.
Sure.
Well, let me tell you, yesterday after my story blew up all across the media, I got a call from Reince. He reached out. To his credit, he said, look, I think your criticisms were unfair. He said, I think you're going to see a lot of good changes as part of things. We're in difficult, hostile work environment here. As we all know, the press is at war with Trump. And he said, we're trying to fix things and get things working properly and smoothly. And he said, you got to give us a little more time. I said, I understand it. I hear you. And I said, look, I'm willing to look at results. I'm not out to get you. And then Jared, we were speaking on another matter later, Jared Kushner, and I think very highly of him. I'm really glad that he's there because he's a very sensible guy. He's a good business guy. He's a young guy, and he's got the president's ear. And he said to me that Reince was doing, in his opinion, an amazing job. That was his words. I said, look, I'll put it out on Twitter that that's what I heard. I'm not out to get these guys. But my job in the press, and it's your job, Alex, is not to parrot, but to give honest feedback. And my experience with Donald Trump over many years is he appreciates feedback. He loves it. I've never seen a guy that wants more feedback from not only famous, important people, but also ordinary people. He's always asking people what they think and how they feel. I'm not disputing what you're saying, but on the other hand, I'm not privy to any of it, and I'm not aware of that that's the case. I know, and I think we both agree, the media is like in war with the president. I was on CNN yesterday, and they spent a half hour before I went on saying the guy's a pathological liar and that he's mentally ill. Now, I've known this guy for a long time. I've interacted with a lot of his businesses. I know you've met him as well. His businesses run flawlessly. He always hires really good people. Well, and he hires really good people, and there's very little staff overturn I've seen through the years. So he's not a guy like hires, fires. They're trying. He picked out an A team for the cabinet. They're just getting in. He's only in 2 weeks. They're not giving this guy a moment to breathe. And my problem with the White House is he's done all these good things, Excel, the lobbying ban was terrific. He's saving American jobs. Do you hear anybody talk about that? No. They're all talking about day and night about Nordstrom's and even like the Reince story. I think it's an important story, and the Flynn story. You know, they're a little bit diversions, I think. Every administration is going to have a little. This guy is the first citizen, non-politician president in the country's history. We got to give him a little more slack than they're giving.
Well,
look, we're facing some of the greatest crises this country has ever faced. And the public decided that it wanted new leadership and it didn't want the old, same old, same old. And we need to stand behind the president. He's going to have some policies. I don't know if I think that people should be more supportive of him than they are from both the Republican side. And I'm a little shocked, you know, this Russian thing I think is being overplayed because you know what? We both know it didn't impact the election at all. Hillary actually did better than Obama in many, many states. So if that Russian influence had anything to do with it, it didn't help.
Sure.
Trump won because he actually went to states like Ohio and Pennsylvania, and he started talking about the issues they care about, which was jobs and trade and border security. That's why he won. Everybody's like, why did he win? It was a trick. No. It was honest. He tried. So I just think that we need to be a little more fair. I try on NEWSMAX every day to say, look, how are we going to be fair to him? We criticize Donald Trump.
Sure.
But we also been very supportive when we can be. And, you know, the media is, you know, they're bad news. They're not good. They've been really attacking him, and I think they're vicious almost, and I don't blame them for being angry.
Good.
I don't know if that's true or not, but my experience is I believe that he's loyal to the president. I don't think he's trying to harm the president. I just think he's very new to the job. This is a guy that ran the political arm of the Republican Party for a number of years. He's a good relationships builder. He is close with Paul Ryan, as you mentioned. I think the president picked him because the president doesn't know a lot of these guys in Washington. Figured out, hey, I'll pick the head of the RNC. Well, I don't want to imply that the president asked me to go forward. I just happened to have met the president, but this was not the issue that we discussed when we met. And I don't want to imply that I speak for myself. I go on the media appearances. You know, I've done this before, and I do it through NEWSMAX, and I'm just going to continue to call it like it is. And, you know, sometimes the president might not even like it, but he probably doesn't agree with everything you say.
Oh, he certainly doesn't.
What we both agree is he's a guy that likes the information. He asks a lot of people their opinion, which I think is a great thing. And I wouldn't necessarily think he wants he's going to judge Reince like he judges all his businesses and everything else on results. And if the results are good, and we'll see in the next couple of months, he'll be very supportive of it.
Well,
you and I are on the same page. I think that they made a big mistake not making the tax reform and the tax cuts immediate. It takes years for that stuff to percolate through the economy. We need that injection. He should have done it, and they're doing Obamacare, which we don't like, but that's a quagmire. That's a quagmire, and it's not going to be easily fixed. So I'd rather get the tax reform policy done first 100 days. Then you work on all of the things on Obamacare, and that's going to take 6 months. So, and the president loses leverage when he gets caught in quagmire.
And no, Chris Ruddy, last question. Chris, last question. Looking at the media landscape, you continue to grow, Drudge continues to grow, InfoWars continues to grow. They keep calling us the fake news, and they're trying to cherry pick a few things we get wrong about. When CNN's the fake polls, giving Hillary the questions, caught lying, backing the Arab Spring, I don't see this fake news narrative working, but the head of Google, the head of Facebook, the heads of Apple all say they want to put in systems to block our sites. And believe me, if we don't all band together, from Rush Limbaugh to Sean Hannity to Chris Ruddy to Matt Drudge to Alex Jones, we're going to lose our free speech.
I believe in net neutrality. I don't know how you feel about it, but the idea that 5 cable operators can throttle back our web traffic, and that was a rule Obama put through, but I think it was one of the good things. There's talk they may do away with it. I think it's a mistake. So that's one of the issues. We can talk about that offline. 2 things I'm going to leave you with. One is anybody that wants to get NEWSMAX or NEWSMAX TV, you just download the app. It's free on any smartphone, NEWSMAX TV or NEWSMAX Web. Second of all, Big Agenda, Trump's Plan to Save America by David Horowitz. It's a #1 bestseller. It's the best book, Big Agenda, on the Trump presidency. I encourage people to read it. You'll find out how he really plans to sink the Democratic Party if he gets his agenda through that you've been talking about.
And by the way, you know, I didn't like Horowitz as much. I thought he was exaggerating. I really want to get Horowitz on because did he not end up being right about the Islamic invasion?
Well, he predicted 21 things that Trump was going to do. 5 of them already, no, everybody said he was lying, and one of them was this Muslim ban. So everything he's predicting so far is coming true, but he and Bannon have come up with a pretty good plan that's going to really put out the Democratic Party out of business. And if they get this through, this is a big win, and we're going to win African-American voters over and a lot of people that we didn't have in the past.
All right, Chris Ruddy, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for the time.